The PS Vita is an amazing console, and it's one that was left to die by Sony, which is a shame because for the time its hardware was considered next level, and some of the games that came out on the device were amazing, for the most part. But due to a lack of demand for the console, Sony was quick to pretend it never existed, and instead focused on the breadwinner at the time, which was the PlayStation 4. Sony saw the system as a failure, but the community thought otherwise, and with the help of some third-party publishers, the Vita has become one of the most unique and collectible handhelds to date. So today, I want to cover a handful of indie games that were not published by Sony, but are still amazing to play on your PlayStation Vita. So, let's get into it. Starting off this list is a game I was extremely torn with at first, which is Xenocrisis. I'm a massive fan of the original Alien series, and I've had a lot of fun playing some of the newer releases from the franchise, but a part of me always wanted to see the series get an arena shooter, and well, Xenocrisis decided to take on that challenge. The game is not based off the original Alien 1979 storyline in any way, and for the most part it's just a generic Alien shooter, but I still love what they've done with the art style. Moving away from visuals, the game uses randomly generated levels, which all contain a final boss which you have to defeat to progress. There's two difficulties, easy and hard, and you get 3 continues at the start of each game. Throughout the game, you will get the option of leveling up your character, which is a fun way to keep you playing, but there are some downsides. The first one is the difficulty. A lot of people don't like the randomly generated levels because they oftentimes don't give you enough ammo. Another downside I had personally with the game was how tight the control stick was, and it didn't feel very accurate and oftentimes didn't properly shoot diagonally. But besides these small downsides, I'd still say the game is an awesome grab for any person who enjoys arena shooters and wants a challenge. Currently this game is around $150 sealed, as it is a PlayAsia limited release, so definitely only get a physical copy if you're interested in collecting for it. Our next game on the list is one that's been spoken about so much, but if you haven't played it, you really should, and that game is Undertale. Now I know this one is talked about all the time, but the reason I'm putting this on the list is because it's an amazing way to play this game on the go. Undertale is a fantastic 2D RPG that gives you so many different ways to play it, and although the visuals might look a little underwhelming, the storyline and music make up for it. The story is that you are a kid who falls into an underground world where you encounter monsters and magic. Yes, it sounds cheesy, but the storyline really does pick up and it makes you want to play it more. The game does an excellent job of keeping the player interested by having bullet hell sections and boss fights, while also having unique puzzle areas that can be solved a number of different ways. If you haven't played Undertale, it's a must grab. Currently this game is sitting around the $100 to $150 mark, as this one was published by Fangamers, so again, this one is only worth grabbing physically if you're wanting to have it as a physical collection. The next game on the list is one that comes from my favorite arcade series ever made, and that game is Metal Slug 3. This game is by no means a good port on the PS Vita, but it's good enough for me to recommend to people who've never tried a Metal Slug game before. For those that don't know, the Metal Slug series is a Japanese run-and-gun arcade game that was eventually bought out by SNK. The story is an acid trip, but that doesn't matter because the gameplay is really addictive. This is the type of game that you'll use up a lot of lives on because of how brutally difficult the boss battles and stages are. But the PS Vita port is very friendly, and it does offer unlimited continues along with a multiplayer mode which is crossplay between PS Vita, PS3, and PS4. That alone makes this an easy game to recommend. But please do keep in mind this is not a perfect port. There's still a fair amount of slowdowns, and the controls they're not great compared to the ones you find in the arcade. But if you aren't a die-hard fan, you'll easily have a good time with this title. Now, as of recording, this is a pricey game, fetching above $200 on eBay since it's a limited run title that comes inspired by the Neo Geo AES casing. Nonetheless, this is a great game to grab if you can find it out in the wild for a reasonable price. My last pick for this list is Aqua Kitty DX, which was published by Limited Run Games but originally came out as a PS Mobile title, which then also made its way to the PC and Xbox. Luckily, the game performed quite well and received an upgrade with more content and add-ons, which the Vita received as the DX edition. This game is a love letter to anyone who enjoys pixel-based shooters. I really enjoy shoot-em-ups, but Aqua Kitty DX puts a nice spin on it by having you defend various mining rigs. The theme of the game is about cats who use submarines underwater to defend their milk mining rigs. It's a weird idea, and I don't really get too deep into the story with these kind of games, but the levels get really hard and I enjoyed the sense of progression throughout the game. The graphics as well look amazing, and I personally think the game is best experienced on a handheld device because of how nice it looks on the Vita screen. Along with that, the music is super catchy and well done. So if you're wanting something that's different and still maintains an older retro feel, this is a solid title to own. Currently the game is only $60, making it actually kind of affordable and the cheapest title to own physically on this list. So that wraps up my list for my favorite PS Vita indie games. I'm sure there are a lot that I missed or am missing out on, and if you've got some titles that you recommend me trying out, please let me know in the comments. And with that said, I hope you have an awesome day. Bye.